Okay. Welcome, everyone. Good evening. My name is Mariah. I am a children's librarian at the Downtown Main Library here in Cincinnati. And I am also a member of Index, which is the library's group for young professionals, emerging professionals, adults really of any age.
Welcome, everyone.
And we have been doing recently this Library Happy Hour.
My name is Mariah.
So this is a time for us to just enjoy a beverage and chat about various awesome things. And tonight we have two super special guests and a conversation for all of you pet lovers out there. So I am very excited to welcome Jen and Katie from Cincinnati Pit Crew to talk about their organization and to give us all some helpful tips on how to keep our pups entertained during this time where a lot of us are still working from home. So throughout this conversation, please throw your questions for us, for Jen, for Katie, in the chat box. Show us your pictures of your dogs or your cats. We want to see them. And thank you for joining us tonight. So Jen, Katie, let's talk.
Hello.
Tell us a little bit about your organization.
Hi. So we are a pit bull rescue advocacy and education organization. We've been around for a little over 8 years now. And we kind of started our organization right around the same time that the city of Cincinnati repealed their ban on pit bulls within city limits. And our goal was to kind of coincide with that decision to serve as a community partner for promoting responsible ownership. So a lot of what we do is to stop the pipeline of pets having to go to shelters to begin with. So we do a lot of behind the scenes work with responsible ownership and owner support. We do a lot of socialization activities. We try to get the dogs together for walks throughout the city and to just kind of be a positive presence in the community to promote responsible ownership of pit bulls and all dogs really, but especially pit bulls since they do get kind of a negative reputation. But to know a pit bull is to love a pit bull. And we've changed a lot of minds, and I think we've done a lot of really good work over the last 8 years.
That is awesome, and I could not agree with you more. One of my favorite pits out there is Mr. Newton. I don't know if he's watching right now with his mom, but he's a pit lab mix, and I've just never met a sweeter, more attentive dog. So that's great, guys. How have you and other animal rescues kind of adapted your services during this pandemic?
Well, for us, the pandemic has been quite a challenge, just because a lot of our our volunteer base is in what they consider the high risk category. So we've had to sort of pull back from having that face-to-face interaction with doctors and people who are looking to interact with us on events and volunteering. So we shifted our sort of operating plan, if you will. And what we've done is we've gone to an owner support program. That is where we are helping families with food, vet bills, if they need a leash, anything that they need right now for their pets that we can deliver to them. We are helping to accommodate and get those items into the owner's hands.
Gosh, and that's more important right now, I feel like, than ever, with
Yes.
money being tight for everyone, right?
With that, we know a lot of our community is hurting right now because of unemployment and not being able to work. And pets are such an important part of the family. It's not just the humans, that we want to keep as many of those pets in with their families as we can. So if that's as simple as giving you a bag of food, or, somebody needs to have a rabies vaccine updated, or they broke a toenail and need to go to the vet, any of that stuff that we can help with, we are helping with, even though it may not be in a traditional face-to-face sense of what you think of as a rescue.
Yeah. Wow. That's awesome, Jen. And can people visit? Is all that information, how to get the food, all that on your website, I assume?
Yeah. So head over to our website, cincinnatipitcrew.org. And up top, there's an owner support program form that's going to ask for some basic information like your name, your address, what type of assistance you need. And then within 24 hours, one of our team members will reach out to you and figure out, where can we deliver the food? When can we deliver it? And it has been a contactless delivery type situation so far, just because we want to keep our team safe as well as we want to keep our community safe. But we will make sure that they get whatever resources they need to help keep their pets healthy during this.
Absolutely. Wow. That is awesome, guys. And I think we'll definitely put that link in the chat as well. So, yeah, great.
Yeah, and feel free to share if you have neighbors or friends that you know that are struggling. Pass it along to them. We are here and willing to help anybody that we can. You don't have to have a pit bull, although they do hold a special place in our hearts. We want to feed the Chihuahuas and the Great Danes and everybody else too.
Awesome. Cool. Okay. I guess you kind of mentioned this, how you're shifting now, but are there any particular stories that you'd like to share with us about your work since, mid-March when the pandemic kind of hit us here in Ohio?
I think we tend to carry a pretty small number of dogs. We're a very small organization, so we keep our organization tight so we can keep track of everybody and make sure we have enough resources on hand. If we have a vet emergency, we try to keep our fundraising specific to our owner support piece. But we have, it's interesting since we've kind of slowed things down. A lot of our foster dogs are becoming quite part of the family, and something that's not necessarily unique to our organization, but foster-based rescues are finding that, foster families are really bonding with their foster dogs during this time, and they're becoming what we call foster failures, which means that you did such a good job at being a foster that you failed, and you actually adopted your dog instead of just fostering it. And so we have a couple dogs that we're hoping, fingers crossed, that and they know who they are if they're watching, maybe end up a forever home. But that's a trend for sure in rescue. And a lot of shelters are even empty right now, which is really great to see, especially as you're seeing some flooding across the area and other parts of the country. We know that those are times when a lot of animals come into the shelter. And so the fact that they're empty right now is really helpful.
Wow.
And the one story I do want to share, if anybody has followed us on Facebook for a while, you might be familiar with Duke. He's been with us for a while, and Duke has been sort of a special case because he's required a lot of training, and his fosters were both laid off and have now in the position where they're home, which actually presented a really good, unique opportunity because they can spend 6-7 hours a day training with him. And over the last few weeks, he's mastered several new tricks as far as doing like both paws. He's learned to lay completely down, even when he's in the middle of a park and there's 10 people walking around him. So it's been a good experience for that because they've had the time to invest with him.
Yeah, no, for sure. My parents' neighbors got a puppy right before this all started. And little Finn has just been the highlight of my, weekly walks, social distance walks over to their house and seeing him. And I know that they've definitely enjoyed having this extra time. So I feel like pets have definitely been a silver lining throughout all of this, right?
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, gosh. Okay, guys. Well, what services or programs are you all involved in right now that you'd like to highlight maybe more or specifically go into detail about?
The one big thing, like I was saying before, is our owner support program. Any type of resource that you need, we are here to help. If we don't have the direct item or resource that you are in need of, we have a lot of resources at our fingertips that we can either pull from them or put you in contact with those people to get whatever you need.
And just to make it super clear, Jen, you do not have to have a pit bull or another one of those bully breeds, right?
Any and all pups are welcome.
Yay. Can we just make a sign that says that?
Yeah. We even have resources for people who have cats too. We have some partners. So if there's people who need cat needs, we can definitely accommodate that as well.
Wow. Awesome. Yeah. Cool. Okay. Well, speaking of resources, any good books, fiction, how-to, dog related, cat related? What do you think?
So we we get a lot of our information, like most people do, from the internet. Um, and BuzzFeed is always a really good resource and super fun for information about just the latest trends and everything. But we've thought a lot about during this time. For our pets, it's a real adjustment when all of a sudden, you're home all the time, right? And so to be with your pet all the time is different. And so we talked a lot. Jen and I, when kind of talking about how we wanted to frame some of our conversation tonight, we talked about two things. We talked a lot about training, and then we talked a lot about entertainment because, if you think about having your kids at home too, you really have to find a balance between helping them with their schoolwork and also making sure you have family time and social time. And you have to do the same thing with your pets, right? You have to do the same thing with your dogs. And so, um, while this time, can be tempting to kind of slack off of the work you've done with your dogs, the training's important. But I think what's most important is the fun, right? So, dogs don't get a break from us. Just like sometimes we need a break from our pets. At this point, that's not happening, right? So, something that we've seen a lot of people do, and there's some really great TikTok videos of this out right now, of people playing hide and seek with their dog in the house. They get it, they understand, right? So like while you hide, and at first it can be hiding in plain sight, so they can see you kind of around the corner, and then everybody jumps and everything. But then there's been some really good videos of kids like hiding, and say go find it, and they will go and find the person. But it's a great way to like play a game with your dog. There's also things about the hide and seek thing is a big thing, or hiding their favorite toy and telling them to go find it. If you've ever done that and you've watched your dog like run around the house for 5 or 10 minutes looking for the one toy that exactly what it is. So it provides a little bit of entertainment for everyone.
Right. So you throw that into the other room, close the door, get on your work call, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. But the hide and seek one is something that's really enjoyable. And we're getting a little bit more towards warmer weather sometimes here or there, maybe soon for good. But definitely getting your dog outside for play. Sprinklers are super fun for dogs and super fun for kids too. And it's a great way to teach your dog to interact with your kids and interact with the neighborhood kids and everything. So there's a lot of opportunity for socialization at this time. One of the things that we deal with a lot is separation anxiety with dogs. And that's one of the hardest things to untrain a dog with, is teaching them about it's a really tough thing. And if you have a dog that has separation anxiety, you know exactly what we're talking about. So it is important that, yes, it's nice to be home and spending a lot of time with your dogs, but it's also a really good opportunity to avoid starting that separation anxiety issue by putting them in their crate for a little couple hours out of the day, or maybe go outside and do some reading, or sit on your laptop and do a Zoom call for work while your dog's inside, so they get some alone time and they're not freaked out when you do go leave to go to the store or go back to work, and all of a sudden they're home alone by themselves. It's going to be a shock for them for sure.
Yeah. And that's gonna be a really big thing coming up, right? Where,
oh yeah.
I mean, so can you start it just kind of incrementally, is what you're saying? Maybe slowly.
Jen, do you want to pick up there?
Yeah. So start incrementally, small periods of time. If you need to go outside for a half an hour for that Zoom call with your CEO, start small and then build up, time as it goes on. So that way your dog, like Katie was saying, doesn't freak out. Then all of a sudden when you're gone for 8 hours, like, oh, wait, mom left me home alone. What do I do? I don't know how to handle this. Yeah. Think of when you were a kid and you were getting to that age to stay home alone, mom and dad started out by going to the grocery store. They were gone for an hour, and then they would go out to dinner for 2 to 3 hours, and slowly build that time up. It will help your pup in the long run.
Yeah.
And the other thing I wanted to piggyback on with Katie was not just like the play. I have found personally from working from home that sticking to routine is such an important part of the overall process. It's easy to, think, oh, I only have to get out of bed 5 minutes before I have to log on. No, you still need to get up early, go for your morning walk, maybe go a little bit further to get your pup some extra exercise to kind of tire them out, so that they're not driving you bananas 20 minutes after you're logged in and working. And that's also part of the training. It's not just the traditional like sit, stay, come. They're trained. Go on that morning walk. Take that time to, go do their business, socialize with whoever they might see every morning. And the other thing that I found worked really well was I do two different types of walks. Excuse me. The first one in the morning will be to go out, handle our business, get our exercise in, do what we got to do. And then later in the day, do sort of an exploratory walk where I'll walk at my dog's pace. I'll let her lead the way. If we stop and sniff every blade of grass that is on the block, we do that. If we stop and watch a squirrel for 10 minutes, we're going to stop and watch a squirrel. But it gives her that chance to sort of decompress and just go at her own pace where it's not a hurry up, get it done, and gives her a chance to exercise her senses and sight and smell and those types of things.
Yeah, I mean, gosh, that sounds like the kind of walks I take, after I close the laptop every day, right? It's important for us, for kids, for dogs.
It's a good decompression, even for humans. I enjoy that part of our day.
Yeah. Okay, well, enough about humans. I want to hear about your dogs. So show me pictures. I'm sure people are probably putting stuff in the chat as well. I can't wait to look at them later. But yeah, we all love bragging about our pets. So who wants to start?
I will show Doodle. So so I do have to preface this by saying that I did lose my dog 9 weeks ago to osteosarcoma, which is an aggressive form of canine cancer. But I will also couple that by saying he'd been sick for a little while. And with the pandemic and the way that veterinarians are set up, some are more open now than before, but had he been sick, I wouldn't have been able to go to the vet with him. I would have had to just drop him off. And that I don't know that I would have handled that well. So he was 9 years old, and I've had him since he was 5 weeks old. So I've had a great life with him. But this is King, if you can see.
Oh,
he was definitely one of the inspirations for starting CPC, because I got him when he was just 5 weeks old, and I had no idea. I was really a first-time puppy owner as an adult, when I couldn't just let my dad do everything. Like, Dad, get us a puppy, we'll do it all. No, that never happened. So I've had him, and I didn't know what to do with him. He's a strong breed. He was an ornery guy. I didn't know anything really, or wasn't really educated about the benefits of spaying and neutering your pets and a good training and routines and things like that.
Yeah.
And I met up with a group of women who were really involved with pit bull rescue. And we said, let's do this. And so, King was one of the first ambassadors for CPC. He's done a lot of the literature from the early days and a lot of the pictures, and led a lot of walks. And so I had a lot of really good memories with him. I miss him, but I'm thankful that he's not suffering anymore.
Yeah.
So.
Oh man.
Okay, Jen, what are the happy notes?
Okay, so my baby, who is, I don't know if you guys can see,
Yes.
currently in the other room snoring, sawing logs from playing at daycare all day. And this is Jewel. I've had her since she was about 6 weeks old. She's 7 now. Like Katie, had no idea what I was getting into. First time a dog owner as an adult, didn't have mom and dad to, take care of everything. It was up to me. And made quite a few mistakes along the way, but I learned. And then I made the decision as an adult that I was going to go back to school. And Katie was my professor at the time. And here we are, Katie, 4 years later, I'm getting ready to graduate, and we now run a rescue together and believe in a lot of the same things.
Yep.
That is amazing.
Yes.
Wow. And I don't know if you guys mentioned this already. Did you both always know that you wanted a pit, or did that dog kind of come to you and you were like, oh, this is my dog, and now I guess I'm a pit, pit person?
He chose me.
Yeah.
As soon as I told my mom, and I think she's watching right now, as soon as I told my mom, that I said, I got to tell you something, and you should never say that to a parent as an adult.
Never.
I said, I got a puppy and it's a pit bull. She looked at me like, it's going to eat your face off. It's going to kill you. But they're just, first of all, if you've ever seen a pit bull puppy, they are the cutest puppies ever, and they show me a pit bull puppy and I'm just going to put it in my bag and take it home with me. I put him in my hoodie pocket. He fit. A friend of mine, she had gotten a puppy. She had gotten him and it just didn't work out. And so she texted me a picture of him and she said, "Weren't you looking for a puppy?" And I was like, "I'm on my way." So, yeah.
In the car already, yeah. But
Yeah.
do you guys feel like it's changed in the last 8 years? I mean, with the stigmatization and everything. Oh, that's a tough one.
I think it has, and I think social media has really played a big part in that because there's a lot of organizations that post a lot of really cool rescue stories before and after, and you can see what the dog has come through and what it's been through. But I think it's funny if you start to talk to someone like, "Oh, I have a pit bull," and they're like, "Oh, my sister has a pit bull. It's the greatest dog," or "My friend," or "My neighbor." Everybody owns a pit bull, but it's like people didn't used to talk about it because there was so much stigma. But I think through rescue and social media, it's really become kind of the cool breed to have.
That's awesome. Yeah. Jen, anything else you'd like to add before we wrap up our evening here?
Just please, if you need assistance, let us know. Share it with your friends, your neighbors, your church members, their family. We're here to help you guys. We've got a ton of food that we are just waiting to hand out for everybody. Yeah. So share it, please. Get in contact with us. Like I said, if we don't have the resource, we know who does, and we can get you into the right direction.
Awesome. What can we, as the community, what can we do to help you guys?
Keep spreading the word. Pit bulls are not bad. Keep fighting the fight every day. For lack of better terms, pit bulls are not inherently bad dogs. They are good, loving, natured family dogs. And, that's what we're all about. We can't do it if we have anybody going against the grain, so to speak.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And I think just promoting responsible ownership, make sure you're spaying and neutering your pets, and microchip, huge microchip. If anybody is live PD fans out there, they film here in South Carolina where I live now. And on last week's episode, there was a dog that had fallen down a drain pipe. A couple of the officers were able to get the dog out. And it turned out it was a 17-year-old local dog that had been gone missing, and his family was desperately trying to find them. And the vet was able to reconnect the owner with the dog because it was microchipped.
Wow.
So, and I'm always the sad stories. That dog did sadly pass away a few days later, but it had underlying health issues. But I'm thankful that because of the microchip, this dog was able to go home and be with his family for his final days. But just being a responsible pet, spay, neuter, microchip your dog. If you see a dog in your neighborhood that's loose or it's a stray dog, just making sure that you're calling the local SPCA or local Humane Society where you live, and just looking out for your neighbors, and being responsible, not letting your dog outside off leash to just go to the bathroom, because you never know. There might be another dog, walking down the street on a leash that maybe not dog friendly. Even though your dog is friendly, it doesn't mean that every dog is friendly. And so just being respectful of other dog owners.
And that's not just a pit bull thing. That's a general broad across the board. Every dog for responsible owners, spay, neuter, microchip.
Yeah. Awesome. Oh my gosh, guys, that was so much information. Thank you. And if people have more questions for you all, can they just hit you up on Facebook or Instagram? I know you have a Twitter and also, of course, your website. Does that work?
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yes. Okay.
Well, awesome. Thanks for having us.
Thank you so much for joining us, Katie, all the way from South Carolina. Jen, thank you so much. It's a pleasure having you guys.
Thank you.
Cincinnati Pit Crew doing great stuff. Yeah. Okay, everyone. Right. So thank you again for joining us. We will be live again next week. My coworker Molly is going to interview someone from the Art Academy of Cincinnati. So stay tuned for Library Happy Hour every Thursday at 8 o'clock. Again, all of Katie and Jen's information, social media handles for Cincinnati Pit Crew is in the chat. We want to see your pup pictures, so post those as well.
Yes.
And until next time, guys.
Right.
Cheers.
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 Thank you all so much for joining us.